To a story from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I put a sorry, I'm just trying to get out of the sunlight here. I put a link inside the description, but according to this, Mayor Goodman has said to the Review-Journal that they've been talking relocation with the A's since 2019. Which leads me to believe a few things. These are completely just theories, but one is that I'm gathering that yesterday's announcement only came out because this story and possibly others got leaked, and MLB and the A's wanted to get ahead of it. That's a theory, and I would say it's a pretty plausible theory, given the fact that the A's are supposedly still in negotiations with the city regarding Howard Terminal. Supposedly spending upwards of $230 million on this stadium project planning. Whether it's the legislation, buying land, all of the design work and everything that's gone through, that seems to be pretty, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I would definitely say it fits the Raiders model of relocation and stadium negotiation. A lot of people thought that maybe this was the announcement that MLB is allowing relocation, or at least look into relocation for the A's. That seemed to be kind of jumping the gun. It didn't make much sense on the timing. Again, the A's are still in negotiations. The EIR and the community benefits agreement are still in basically draft phases. It also came to light that the community benefits agreement has been in the city's hands since January, not just a couple months ago or weeks ago when it was released to the public. So there's a lot of things that don't quite make sense. Fire department. Oh, I don't know. Oh, they were here. There was a little fire over at the underneath the ramp over here. Looked like some garbage and maybe a little homeless encampment may have caught fire. Anyways, I'm over at the Coliseum station, and that's Coliseum for Amtrak. So I did want to pull over and figured this would be a nice backdrop. But that caught my eye, and then, so it seems a little shady that we've been getting this rooted in Oakland thing for the last little while. And it reminds me a lot of the Oakland Raiders with their whole home campaign. Back when they were talking to Oakland, I can't even see it from here. Oh, anyways, on the other side of the Coliseum here, along the freeway, is a billboard, and it said home, and the Raiders were talking about building something here, and that reminds me, and I'm getting that gross feeling right now from going from home to relocation, starting to talk to Los Angeles, and then San Antonio, and then eventually Las Vegas, where they're at now. And here we have the A's. They've been talking for 2 years to Las Vegas, and who else knows? Because the rumors were abound that they were talking to Portland. Nashville has come into the storyline a few times. So has Charlotte. And who else knows? Who else knows? And if you guys check out Oakland News Now, Zenny posted a story with about Portland and their attempt to get a stadium and an MLB team, where they've been at it for a while, and they have the support of the people. They've got some, 50,000 signatures. They've got some decent support, and they seem a little bit more like more of a viable city to the A's than maybe Las Vegas. I don't know where Vegas falls as an MLB city. I don't know how they're feeling right now, given the money they just poured into the Raiders. A lot of people I know who live in Las Vegas, they feel like they got scammed, and I don't think they want to do that again. But if the A's really are what they say they are, and they can actually privately finance, then we might have another story. The other thing I wanted to hit on is Dave Cavall made a statement that basically, I wish I could look at it and be live at the same time, but it basically said to the effect of, even if the city council agrees on this plan in Oakland, they will still go about looking for another place to be. So basically, it sounds like to me, they're going to keep looking even after they've already got something locked in, giving Oakland nothing to trust them on, giving Oakland no foundation to do any sort of anything. Honestly, I wouldn't want to deal with somebody who's like, yeah, I'm talking to some other people. And even if you want to be with me, I don't know if I want to be with you, and that's ugh, at least they've had the balls to say it versus what the Raiders did, which was, oh, we were staying in Oakland. We were not talking to anybody else. At least the Raiders or the A's have a little bit more sack. They have a little bit more courage to say what they mean. But even that, it's still been a bunch of lies for the last 2 years. Whether they're rooted in Oakland, I don't know. But those branches sure are reaching over into other places. I mean, I'm having a real hard time with this. I've been an A's fan my whole life. I've been coming to this Coliseum since I was a kid. And I would ride along the BART tracks and on my bike with some buddies of mine. And we get on the BART train in El Cerrito and we come over here. And we would watch through the slats in the fence back before they built whatever you want to call it, Mount Davis. It's been how I grew up. It's been how my kids grown up. We were here. He was only a few days old, his first trip here, and he loves baseball and he loves the A's. And I know a lot of you guys are like that too. And God, I don't want to hear any more of this, Las Vegas crap, because we've been hearing it for years with the Raiders. Now they want to basically steal the A's from us. And all this kind of just shows how, the A's have just made everybody right. They're talking about relocating. They're going to go do this. They're scamming Oakland. They're doing all these things. And it's like, how can we trust that? Why would I want to go put myself on the line for a team that's just going to skip out anyways? We've been wondering what's going on with this at the Coliseum because they want to own it. Why do they want to own it? What do they really want to put here? I've been talking to some folks, and this puts the kibosh on some other stuff going on too. The A's aren't the only one trying to buy Oakland's share of the Coliseum property. We have the African American Sports Entertainment Group who have been trying to work a deal here because they want to try and bring an NFL team back to Oakland. It won't be the Raiders, but they want to bring either an expansion or a relocation team. And they can't do that if the A's are still sitting on this land. There's Dave Stewart's project. He's looking at doing something here. There's another guy whose name totally escapes me, but he was involved in the, I believe it was the Coliseum City idea. and apparently he's wanting in on this deal. So it's not just the A's, but you've got to question what the A's really want to do with it. And we did an interview with Zenny a few months back, talking to Dave Cowell about what he wants to do with the property and how this whole thing is going to go. And I asked him at the end, is there room for more sports in Oakland? Is this still something where we can have football or whatever? And he said he was talking to those guys. And it's funny that also coming out yesterday in an interview, he was saying that if they do this and they do build in Oakland, that there's they don't expect to open till 2027 at the earliest. Even though it's only been basically a year and a half delay in the process, they want to delay the new stadium 3 years, maybe 4 years. I think they wanted to say 2023 completion or 2024. Let's go with 2024, and that's a 3-year extension, maybe 4. The lease at the Coliseum ends by then. What they do after that, I would expect them to keep moving or keep going here at the Coliseum and keep playing. But again, if there's other people who want to develop this property, that's putting the screws to them, and possibly taking those off the table. But if you have no intention of even being here, if you have no intention of staying in Oakland, get out of the whole deal. Just leave us alone. I mean, at least we can just say that. If you have no intention of dealing in good faith, let it go. Sell your half of the Coliseum. Let go of this whole Howard Terminal project. Stop. Why are we pushing the city council to do something prematurely? Why do we want to vote for June or July when you're going to be talking to Las Vegas and Portland in November? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't give anybody here any good feelings. It doesn't give anybody any sense of hope. A lot of this feels like a hopeless situation. There's parts of this announcement that makes it seem like it's a pressure play. That they want to just kind of put some pressure on the city to push this through. But then they say things like, even if the city approves it, we're going to keep looking elsewhere. I'm like, that's a very demotivational attitude to have, and doesn't make anybody really want to keep moving forward in a process when they think you're just going to be out anyways. What does it matter? And I think the lack of transparency in this whole thing is troubling. It's disgusting. It bothers the hell out of me. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? But on the A side of this, I do want to. I hope people will understand that this isn't technically a handout. The way that they're proposing that this whole thing work. Zenny has said it a few times where he's explained things like tax increment financing, municipal bonds, and that sort of thing. And what I kind of want to explain in the most simplest of terms is when you have these kinds of things, basically the development will make money. The property taxes, all the various taxes, I'm trying to think of a way to put this simply. All the various taxes get collected on the project, then they get split. Part of it goes to the general fund, part of it goes to paying for things like the infrastructure and the project itself. Those monies do not exist unless the project exists. So to say that we're giving a handout to Oakland would be a lie. it wouldn't necessarily be a handout. It's quite the opposite. That's generating tax revenue for the city of Oakland, as well as for the improvements in the area. So again, infrastructure, and these things aren't just for the A's, they're for everything. You could do it to build a school or a library or, a sewage plant. There's so many things that these things can be used for. It's not exclusive to the A's. And nobody's explaining that. And as Zenny has explained several times before, that's stupid to not have explained how this public financing type thing, these things work, these schemes. When I say schemes, I don't mean that we're getting screwed and scammed. I mean schemes as in setups and, devices. It's a really messed up situation. There's a lot of money to be made, and it can also be made for Portland. It could be made for Charlotte or Nashville or any other place too. But of all the places, I think Oakland needs it the most. And I'm really hoping that the leadership in Oakland really gets it through their heads about how these projects really do help Oakland. We had Carol Fife, who had tweeted last week or the week before about how she didn't really baseball wasn't a big concern for her. It wasn't a priority, but homelessness is. But the programs that go to solving the homeless problem and programs to house people, educate people, get them out of the streets, get them cleaned up, get them into rehabs. Those things, that money is sitting right there at Howard Terminal and dealing with the A's. Because not only does it, is that revenue there to directly from the project and directly from the A's, it builds the city. It brings in tourists. It brings in customers for the businesses that already exist. It also brings new businesses who also want to take advantage of those new customers, as well as new businesses for the business. New suppliers, upgrades, that sort of thing, all goes to those people, and that in turn gives more jobs, more income, and more jobs means more money being spent. So that means more sales tax. There's various business taxes that are involved. It becomes this stream of funding beyond the A's, and it becomes funding that is greatly needed by Oakland, and it's money that who's going to bring that money? Is if, let's say, Google buys this land here, and let's say they build a headquarters here, and this is completely it's just an example. It's not, none of these things are actually happening. Those people might come, they might go to In-N-Out Burger across the way, they might spend a few bucks here and there, and then they go home. Wherever they're going to Berkeley, going back to San Francisco, Fremont, wherever they're going. Google being here doesn't bring much excess traffic. Nobody's coming from, middle America to go catch a game, just to go see the Google campus. Whereas if it was baseball, they come catch a game. They might go to the zoo. They might visit various other businesses while they're here. I mean, we're talking, bolstering the economic base, not just through people who live here, but through tourism. And that affects everybody too. The Port of Oakland probably didn't think about that. Port of Oakland, the airport is part of Port of Oakland. Sorry, I'm getting all kinds of messages. The airport is part of Port of Oakland. Business through the airport affects Oakland, not just through the port itself, but through the people who come here and the businesses who do business here. We have such a closed mind about how business works and how everything affects business and business affects the people. When there's business here, and Oakland has had a long history of scaring away business. The most recent thing I can think of off the top of my head was they scared away Uber. Uber went somewhere else. They did all that work, and then Uber's like, we're out. They were going to build a new Kaiser headquarters downtown Oakland. Oakland really didn't do a whole lot to help that project along. That one's been dusted now. You can't keep treating businesses this way. If you want to have people here and you want to help homeless people and you want to help kids get educations and you want to do these things and clean up the city and all these other pet projects, you have to have a tax base to do so. And you can't have that tax base if you scare away people buying property. You can't have that tax base if you are scaring away business. You can't have that tax base if there's nobody who wants to live here. Period. Who wants to live in a town covered in homeless people? It's pretty bad. I don't like to talk bad about Oakland because this is my town. This is where I was born, and I try and find the positives here to hang on to and give me something, some sort of hope, something to talk about. And there's some beautiful parts of Oakland. But let's be honest, there's some ugly parts of Oakland. I'm standing in one. Why can't we build at the Coliseum? It's an industrial wasteland, and there's no nice way of putting it. There's the Coliseum, there's this garbage, and then there's some homes over here. And this place has been sorely neglected by Oakland. Yes, we could build some stuff here, and it'll eventually maybe happen. And the difference between right here and down at Howard Terminal is ready to go. When I say that, I mean there are businesses, bars, restaurants, everything around there, downtown, uptown, within a short walking distance or a very short Uber ride. It's all right there. I can go downtown. I can grab some drinks down at Van Cleef. I'll run down to the A's game. Then I'll come back and maybe I'll go to the Fox Theater. With this development, there should be another small venue, associated with the new ballpark. There could be a big concert there, or I could be grabbing dinner down at Jack London somewhere, or I can go to Yoshi's and see a nice little jazz show. There's something there. I come to the Coliseum, I don't want anything to do with this place. I might go over to In-N-Out Burger and grab, wait in line for an hour so I can get a little, $3 hamburger and drive home. I'm not trying to hang out here and have dinner. The restaurants that were here, they're gone. They left with the Raiders or well before that. A lot of the businesses shut down in the economic downturn in like 2007, 2008. A lot of those businesses are gone. There's nothing for me here. I was thinking, where do I want to go shopping? Oh, I got to go to San Leandro or Hayward or Union City. Or if I go the other way, I got to go to Emeryville or Berkeley. Not in Oakland. There's nothing in Oakland. I think there's a mini Target downtown. They don't have very much stuff there. Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, there are small mom and pop stores, but there's no shopping mall here. There's trying to think of, the big movie theater here. There isn't one. There's the Grand Lake. It's a small old-timey theater. It's cool and everything. Seats are very uncomfortable. It needs an update. It's cool on the historic aspect, but as far as me going to see a brand new fancy IMAX movie, it's not happening in Oakland. I got to go to Emeryville, or I got to go to Hayward, or go to the San Francisco. It's not here. What am I doing? Where am I going to take my date? Got a date tonight? Where am I going? Nowhere. I'm not going to Oakland. I I take that back. There's some cool spots in Oakland. It's all happening down at Jack London. It's not happening right here. It's at Jack London. You know, I might go down to the Tribune Tavern. Well, I think the Tribune's gone now. You know, but go down to Chop Bar or one of the various new brew houses that are out here. There's a couple wine bars that have popped open. There's quite a few businesses that have been popping up, and we haven't even seen it because we've been locked up in our houses for the last year and a half. And there will be more. Businesses bring business. But that stuff also exists in other towns. It exists already in places like Las Vegas. You know, especially if, say, the A's go downtown, they have that built-in vibe already. They're right there. Vegas would be a great town for baseball. I've seen baseball in Vegas. I've been to the ballpark a few times. I went to the opening, and I went to spring training, a couple spring training games last year before they shut it all down. You know, it's a nice ballpark. It's not Major League ballpark. They could very easily build something right there, right next to it. I don't know what would happen. And I would hate to have Oakland become some minor league city, you know, like Sacramento or San Jose. Great cities, but do I really want to come? And one, I don't want to support another minor league team. I've already made it pretty clear when the Raiders left, I was done with the NFL. When the Warriors left, I was done. I'm done with the NBA. I don't care. The A's leave us. I'm done with the A's. I don't want to give support to that system. And in going to a minor league game, I would be supporting MLB because now minor leagues aren't independent. They're owned and operated by Major League Baseball. So I'm not going to come out here, whether it's the Arizona Diamondbacks or, you know, the Giants. Definitely don't want to support them. You know, right on. It used to be so much fun in that area. I used to live there and grew up there. City of Oakland needed to get their act together. They have to. But you can't do any of these projects unless you have a tax base. And Oakland's tax base is dismal. And if you're going to have all these programs, you've got to pay for them. And you can't expect funds from the government. You know, the federal government's not trying to, you know, fund these programs. The state barely wants to fund these programs. And right now, you know, we are in a state of economic uncertainty. You know, we are definitely in a recession. We are trying to stay out of a depression. You know, the markets are crazy right now. We have the gas prices are crazy right now because of hackers. You know, we have, you know, building materials are through the roof. 2x4. I was redoing my bathroom a year and a half ago, and 2x4s like $2.50 a piece. Now they're close to $8 for an 8-foot 2x4. You know, drywall, sheetrock. Well, it is drywall. You know, plywood, that sort of stuff. Cement. All these things, which you're going to have to build a stadium. They're all gone, or not all gone. The prices are through the roof, and you know these resources. How much longer? How much longer is is there going to be a chip shortage? How much longer are we going to have issues with lithium-ion batteries? That's another shortage. You know, it's like that's in all of our phones. That's what they're putting in you know these electric cars. They're basically in every device these days. Anything that's rechargeable is probably a lithium-ion battery. Yeah, it's crazy right now. Nobody's going to be wanting to put that money in weird places like a ballpark. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm not gonna be mad at a hospital. Hospitals are necessary. There aren't enough hospitals in Oakland. There are in downtown, There's basically Pill Hill, and there's Summit Medical Center. There's the various Kaiser campuses, and what's the other one? I always forget the name of it. It's basically the big trauma center. But once you leave that general area, I don't. If I got shot right now, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what hospital they're going to take me to. I mean, is there one right here in East Oakland? I don't know. I know there are clinics, and there are what do they call them? They're like emergency rooms, but they're not emergency rooms. Anyways, where's the nearest hospital from here to here? I mean, it could be right here one day. I mean, a hospital wouldn't be bad, but hospitals have been bad business lately. I remember in Richmond, there was Doctors Medical Center. We always called it Brookside. That's what it was when I was a kid. My sister was born there. And it closed and left an entire region without an emergency room. Yes, Highland Hospital, that's it. I ought to know because one of my friends, she's really good. She works there, and she works in ER. Not the ER, ICU. Anyways, Richmond was left without an emergency room. So, like when my mom had a heart attack, she had to go all the way out to Martinez. She didn't have Kaiser. There's a Kaiser down in, I guess you'd call it North Richmond, South Richmond, something like that. Anyways, there's a Kaiser down there, but Kaiser's for Kaiser members. My mom had to go to Martinez to the county hospital in order to get care. That's like a 20-minute ride. Luckily, my mom didn't die on the way there. She died at home later on, but that's neither here nor there. The city Oakland doesn't have those things. Oakland barely has extracurricular activities after school. Oakland barely has computers in the classroom. Oakland barely has books in the classroom. Oakland barely has a classroom. These are all huge projects that require public investment. And when I say public, I don't mean just you and me, but investment from the greater public. The TIF plan works well. Oops, sorry, your thing went away. I'm trying to read it. Basically, yeah, Oakland can't seem to deal with TIFs. Oakland seems so... I don't know how to describe Oakland. Oakland's a weird little town. Oakland has a Napoleon complex in a way. We know what we do. We know that this is the backbone of the Bay Area. We know that Oakland is hardworking and capable. But Oakland is unwilling to gamble on itself, unwilling to invest in itself. And that's a terrible way of doing business in Oakland. It's a terrible way of doing business in any city. If Oakland's ever going to be anything more than a bedroom community for San Francisco, it has to bet on itself. Zenny's been saying for years, we don't have a real convention center. I've been talking to other people. We don't have real entertainment. We don't have a real entertainment district. We don't have a shopping district. We don't have, we had a sports district. It works everywhere else. And the funny part is, I was looking up success stories with tax increment financing. And the funny part is, I found some bad ones. And they're like, why it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because the places don't take advantage of it. They don't use it. And they get cold feet. And it's just a really silly thing. That's why tax increment financing doesn't work. It's because people don't make it work. It's a great way of getting the funds necessary and paying for it. What essentially works out to be sort of a loan. But I haven't been able to find it. I was looking for it briefly the other day. Part of the Howard Terminal project had, I could be very wrong about this, but I remember seeing Caltrans videos of proposed roadways around the Port of Oakland, West Oakland, Jack London Square, and how the whole Webster Tube Alameda thing comes together. So there's already money getting pumped into that area, apparently, by Caltrans for some of these infrastructure changes. They were going to happen, and they are going to happen, apparently, regardless of what the A's do. Which is great, because that place is terrible. Potholes all over. I busted 2 tires a couple years ago because of the potholes over there. Bent some rims, and that sucked. The entire system, though, hasn't been fully utilized the way it can and should be utilized. And we've got I think the sadder part, at least, from the outside looking in, is that Oakland politicians are so used to all this backstabbing. EBT article today by, anyways, project is giveaway to $1 billion. I wish these things didn't go away. All right, Ben, I'm online right now. How you doing?
Hey, did the fire department put that fire
They
out?
did. They came and put that fire out.
The fire department came in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was on fire. And
And you know what? That's what I said. And I don't know how that caught on fire.
oh man, I don't know.
I know you don't know. I know who did it.
Oh, I don't know.
And they all they gonna pay for that.
Wasn't me. It was on fire when I got here. Yeah. They came, put it out, and took off. Yeah. So there's a guy came to check on his stuff. Forgot where I was at. These comments, they disappeared before I can look at them, and I really wanted to see what that last one says. Have we got all? Here we go. Hey, there they go. EBT article today by somebody says that the project is a giveaway to billionaire Fisher, which this thinking is what makes politicians unwilling to know how the system works. Yeah, well, that's kind of you got like the East Oakland Stadium, I forgot what the A stands for, association, whatever it is. I mean, they're all for a stadium, just not there. But now you're not getting shit. Unless those guys figure whatever it is out and get it together and sit down with everybody else and come to a better agreement that makes everybody happy, the A's are gone. And there's not a lot of hope to hold on to when the A's are saying, well, we're gone. We could leave anyways, even if we get what we wanted. I'm like, that's stupid. But yeah, it's not a handout. And that's why all these EOSHA or whatever, I can't remember, EOSA. I'm done trying to spell names here. The East Oakland Stadium Alliance and their stuff, their rhetoric is tired and it's thoughtless. Yes, you can have all these things, and yes, we could have them here in East Oakland, but on the timetable given, it doesn't work. Like I said, if the A's build a Howard Terminal, they build the stadium first. All the auxiliary stuff is later. Hotel, later. Parks, a little bit later. Office buildings and houses, a little bit later. We're talking probably 10, 20 years for the complete build out. it's kind of a turnkey situation. You go in there, you have a stadium. Now you at least have some other development in the area that's conducive to bringing people in and keeping them there. You can, like I said, you can go and have a drink at the bar, or go get dinner nearby, see a show at Yoshi's afterwards, and that's not available right here. It would be basically that same timeline. You'd build the stadium, then you got to tear down the old one, and then you got to build stuff up around here. But in the meantime, there's really nothing fun for anybody want to do here. You just, like I said, there's Denny's, there's Taco Bell, there's a McDonald's. On the other side, there's Panda Express and In-N-Out and a Wingstop. I think there's a Black Bear Diner over there. Those aren't really calling my name. Just like with the Raiders, if you allow a person or team to look for further options. Yeah, you know what? If I'm looking for further options all the time, I'm not getting married. not until I don't have other options. That's how it works.
7:02 p.m.
Why would I ever settle for, why would I ever settle for a 5 when I could get a 10? I might get a 7, Yeah, which is why Oakland needs to vote now to unfortunately, wiggle babies. As I stated earlier, and if you check it out online, I've seen it a few times floating around. Dave Cavill said in an interview that even if they get this approved, they will still be looking at other options. Still looking at other options, even though you already got something. You got what you wanted, but you're still looking. You got a 10, but then you decided you needed an 11. There might be one out there still. It's ridiculous, I do need to get going here. I only wanted to come on here for like 5 minutes and talk about the Review Journal article. City has a great plan for the area. It's Coliseum City. Coliseum City, that's an old idea, and it could still work. Coliseum City could still work, and there's still some people in play here who want to make it work. But it doesn't work for the A's. I mean, and that's the inevitability here. You want low-income housing, but no one to pay. Well, again, this is where these plans work. You want the low-income housing? You got to get that infrastructure, and you got to have that. When I say infrastructure, I'm talking about the business infrastructure in this big projects like this that are going to draw fans. They're going to draw business. They're going to draw residents, draw tourists. I mean, business breeds business. Good business breeds business. Bad business scares people away. Right now, we're dealing with bad business. Bad business in Oakland and bad business by the A's right now. Bad business by the A's. But like I said, I think they knew the cat was about to be out of the bag about this Las Vegas story. And so that's why they dropped this whole thing yesterday. I don't think MLB has anything to do with it. That's my problem. I think they're using MLB as a scapegoat. You're telling me that there was a bunch of owners that just said, "Hey, we're going to move," or is this a when they say, only new business in that area is high time? Yeah, I remember you used to come down here and you'd smell cookies. You're like, cookies. I smell weed right now. It stinks like weed right now. I don't smell any cookies. Mrs. Fields is just on the other side of the tracks here. The Sunshine Biscuit Company, they're just right over there. And it smells like weed. Everything smells like weed. Hey, weed's a big business. They got this new place just on the other side of 66th, right across from the entrance to the Coliseum. It's been there for like a year or two now, but more and more of these things are popping up. If you're looking for warehouse space in Oakland, it's either specifically for the pot business, or they're specifically excluding them. They're like, we don't want that here, because I've been looking for a warehouse in Oakland. Man, yeah, this whole thing's jacked up. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of faith right now because, again, Dave Cabell is saying that they can still bounce. All the food processing, yeah. All the jobs, low skilled people can, yeah, right, exactly. And I don't know where they went. China, probably, I don't know. Mexico, someplace where they can pay people less. Hell, they'll probably be made in prisons. I mean, I don't put anything past anybody. That's what they call modern day slave labor. That's what prisons are for. That's been the criticism a long time of prisons was, and the high incarceration numbers for black people is it's just another form of slavery, and so who knows where they're making biscuits anymore. I don't know where their animal crackers get made, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I mean, and I totally love what you guys are saying. I appreciate when you guys give me some feedback, and usually I come on here and I'm talking to myself for a half hour. Mi Rancho started in Oakland, went to San Leandro first, now moving out Elk Grove. It's cheaper out there. I got family that's bugging out of California already. Why they're going to Texas, I don't know, because Texas is turning into California Part 2. I got a few friends who are up in Dallas, and the house prices have skyrocketed. Texas went and built a bunch of crap without doing the infrastructure to build it with, and so you get what you've had the last few years. There was a hurricane, and the South Texas flooded. That's because they didn't create the proper storage and proper drainage and levee and dike system that would have protected them. They just built without regard to what was going on. Apparently, Houston has grown phenomenally in the last 20, 30 years since I used to live there. It's unrecognizable. And, then we have this last year, a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow, and suddenly everybody's going without. Again, they build and build and build without regard to the infrastructure and how how a growing population affects that use. And now what's happening there? Well, you're getting all these people moving in, and they need to rebuild these infrastructure, maintain it, build it, repair it, and that's going to require taxes, lots and lots of taxes, and they don't like taxes in Texas, but they're getting them, and and that's going to happen when people move further north here into Sacramento. Hey, Oakland is going to be a big old dump. I mean, they're not giving a whole lot of anything to clean it up with, The dump costs a lot of money, What do you call it? It's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose for Oakland. If they can't pull this off, can't keep the A's here, I mean, the city loses out on a lot of money in the long run. And a lot of those businesses in West Oakland and specifically Jack London Square, their survivability rate goes down drastically. And, it's looking bleak for Oakland. The housing price skyrocketed in Dallas. Yeah, it's still way more economical for now, but if you look at the rate of change, the population in California it did dip by about 0.5%. So it's not that much. Everybody's going to think there's this mass exodus out of California. It's not happening. There is a mass exodus into Texas from other places, but we've seen those prices skyrocket in the last couple of years, and they're still going up. And as people leave and Texas grows, they're putting too much strain on the infrastructure and an infrastructure that they don't have. And that makes it worse. At least California has always been big and pretty, as much as we're heavily regulated, we have put in place, for the most part, necessary standards, if you will, of what needs to be here and what needs to be done before you can start building at these massive rates. And Texas hasn't. It's been a free-for-all. And same thing in Arizona. Luckily, there's not a whole lot going on in Arizona except for hot. So they're not having to deal with tornadoes and hurricanes and the occasional snow. I gotta sneeze. Sorry. Anyways, again, I'm gonna cut this short. It's been almost an hour. This is really originally gonna be like 5 minutes. It's been great talking to you guys. I really hope this A situation pans out. But this recent news looks really, really bad.